much and good evening. Do you ever stop to analyse what people actually say? I say this because I was driving down the M1 on Monday and I was giving a lift to an auntie of mine, and a Porsche passed us by doing something like 140 mile an hour. My auntie went, "He won't get there any quicker." I thought, yes, he will. We're doing 70 mile an hour. He's going to get there like in half the time we'll take. People do say the funniest things. I mean, come winter, guaranteed someone will always say, "It's too cold to snow." What are they on about? I mean, in the Antarctic, it's 40 degrees below, and there's tons of the stuff. Then there's the classic. You'll have someone's eye out with that. No matter what you carry, a paper bag, a stepladder, you'll have someone's eye out with that. How can you possibly extract an eyeball with a stepladder? Can anybody? Of course, illness produces a fund of these inane statements. She's been under the doctor for a week. He went to the hospital with his leg. He's in bed with his ear. I don't know. Almost as bad are those did you know bits of information. You know, when people say, "Did you know?" It's always at dinner parties. Did you know? The latest one doing the rounds is, "Did you know goldfish have a memory of only 7 seconds?" How anyone knows this and how they can find out is beyond me. It's never been explained, but apparently goldfish have a memory of only 7 seconds. How do they cope? Right? Hey, look at that castle. Oh, yeah. What's a castle? I don't know. Why'd you ask? Ask what? Who are you, anyway? I don't know. Hey, look at that castle. Here's an interesting did you know. There's a tribe in Africa, and I've checked this out, so I know it's true. There's a tribe in Africa that only have 3 numbers in their language. And they are Ok, Fa, and Rup. It's perfectly true. Ok is 1, Fa is 2, and Rup is every other number. Every other number is Rup. This is true. You're looking at me going, "No, he's top. I mean, how do they cope? Like, how old are you? Rup. What time is it? 1:15 Rup. Everything changes when you run out of numbers. I mean, listening to records, you know, Ok, Fa, Rup o'clock, Rup o'clock. What about movies? What film's on the telly tonight? Rup, A Space Odyssey. People come out with the most ridiculous things. I mean, ask a mountain climber why he climbs a mountain, and he'll say, "Because it's there." What sort of answer is that? I mean, an elephant's bum is there. You don't go climbing up it, do you? And mountain climbers are responsible for the only time they say bloody on the BBC News. It's always midwinter, and they've just rescued some half-wit who's tried to climb Ben Nevis in these plimsolls and a bobble hat. And the rescue leader says to the reporter, "He was a bloody idiot. He was wearing the wrong bloody clothes, he didn't have a bloody map, and no bloody Kendall bloody mint cake." Why people have to do dangerous sports, I don't know. I mean, take hang gliding. I mean, you've got to be a bit vacant, haven't you? I mean, this is where you throw yourself off Beachy Head attached to a frame tent. Or potholers. Potholers are usually geography teachers in beards and orange cagoules, and they delight in going down dark, dank holes and spending the entire school holidays 300 foot under Derbyshire. They emerge 4 weeks later with skin the colour of Tipex. No backbone, and their eyes have completely healed up. And you ask them why they do, and they go, "Because we're not all there." Anything to do with water, you should be very wary of. Have you tried swimming in the sea these days? I mean, you've got every chance of being decapitated by a surfer, garroted by a water skier, or cut to ribbons by a jet ski. Frightening, frightening. I know why the water's polluted. And who'd be a scuba diver in that lot? Eh? You've got to be subnormal to do it. Sharks must view scuba divers like we do Dairy Lee cheese. You're dying to eat what's inside, but can you get the damn wrapper off? Looking for a safe sport, I went to one of those all-purpose gyms, you know, with all that specialised workout equipment. But it's not safe. It is not safe. I mean, you have every chance of dying of embarrassment in these places. When you first get that, I went to one of these, and they gave me one of these vests that they have, right? And I put it on, and my whole body went through the neck. Anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger must have owned this thing. You know, and the straps wouldn't fit on my shoulders, you know, because I had to hold it out here. So I thought, while I'm here, I might as well give it a go, you know, so I got all this piece of equipment. I went, and it's no use. I couldn't open the door.
Shake hands.
I can see your nipple.
You haven't joined me.
Join what?
Nothing.
Trouser leg, bare nipple business.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Come on, Dave.
No, it just felt a bit hot, that's all. Give a bit of air to me nipple.
You had a hot nipple?
Yeah, did you ever get that? Hot nipples.
Not on a regular basis, isn't it? OK. Two possibilities. One, there's been an outbreak of mad nipple disease. Or two, you've joined the Freemasons.
It's just a social thing, that's all. A few of the lads getting together for a drink, that's all.
And show each other your nipples.
Stop going on about nipples. If the Grand Chief Inspector hears you...
What? He'll turn me into a toad.
Worse. He'll have you transferred to the West Midlands Serious Crime Squad.
All right. How long are you going to keep this up for, then? How are we supposed to operate as a team if you won't talk to me? Jealous, aren't you? Jealous because nobody's asked you to be a Freemason. Oh, I know what's the matter with you. You're scared in case I get promoted ahead of you. Oh, shy. What do you make of that?
None go fast! Nowhere, chummy! Right. Now, let that be a lesson to you. Now, be off with you. What? Don't do it again. We used to do it in the old days. Quick clip round the ear. We'll do that again in a hurry. A quick clip round the ear. They were robbing a bloody bank! It's not a big bank, is it? Oh, it's only a little bank.
He was a Mason, wasn't he?
Don't be ridiculous.
You let him go because he showed you his nipple.
It doesn't look like that.
Oh, yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Get them?
Ask him.
Escaped. Oh. may escape. Yes.
So. You really are serious about wanting to join the Masons, aren't you?
You said if I stood at the bar long enough, someone would come up and ask me to join.
Trouble is, you never know who it is who's going to be doing the asking. A recruiting officer could be anybody in this club. And Masons are a master of disguise, you know. It's always the one you least expect.
Excuse me, do you have a light?
Yes, I do have a light.
Well, can I have one then?
You mean you really want a light? Oh, I don't smoke, sod off. Dave.
What?
I think I've spotted him.
Where?
Over there, looking at me now.
No, don't be ridiculous.
You said yourself, Masons are the master of disguise.
Yeah, but they wear aprons, not crimpling dresses.
I'm Bob Louis.
Hello, Bob. I'm Melissa.
You can cut the crap. Come on, show us your nipple. I shove it through my legs and you shake it. I've been studying it. Look.
We didn't realise you kept such indiscreet company, Brother Briggs.
Come on. Yeah, come on. I'm a mate. Well, I'm almost a Mason. I'm a police officer. Look, I'm a police officer. Look. Dave, tell him I'm a policeman. Dave!
Yes, well, thanks anyway. We should have done this ages ago. Ted should be taking it easy at his time of life, not working himself to the bone. And as for the garden... Oh, hello. Is that Jenkins? I need a little help. Come round any time when he's not here. Any day except Tuesday.
Ted, could we have a word?
Rosie and I have noticed that the garden is getting a bit much for you these days. So, we were thinking, would this be any use?
There was a wonderful story in the press a short while ago about the Rottweiler that saved a woman from drowning. Now, Rottweilers, as you know, get a bit of a rough ride from the media. I mean, Saddam Hussein gets a better press than these guys. But here's this dog leaping into a very dangerous river to rescue a drowning woman. It's perfectly true. What struck me about the story is that what did the drowning woman think? How did she feel about it? I mean, she's coming up for the third and presumably the last time and thinking, well, things can't get any worse. Turns around and there's this Rottweiler. Made me laugh. Where would we be without animals, eh? And don't we give animals a hard time, don't you think? I remember as a kid opening up a tortoise with a tin opener. Well, I didn't know, did I? Have you ever seen a tortoise without its shell? It's like Colin Moynihan in swimming trunks. And we're supposed to be a nation of animal lovers, but are we? I mean, you think about it. Right, you buy a puppy dog, and what's the first thing you do? You whip it down to the vets and have it de-knackered. round and he's thinking... Well, thanks very much. And you're my best friend. And what about zoos and safari parks? I mean, is that being humane? Well, maybe you can argue a case for the animals, but I don't know about human beings. I mean, oh, I love safari parks, me, eh? You spend 3 hours locked up in a Sierra trying to explain to the kids why monkeys have bright red bums. I haven't thought of one yet, but I will. Or you get packs of timber wolves coming up to you saying, here, give us your Garfield. Have you ever broken down in a safari park? It is a humiliating experience. I mean, the AA don't want to know for a start. So you sit there waiting for help to arrive, and while you do, the news goes round the park that there's a car stranded. And all the animals get to hear about it. They all come out to have a bit of fun at your expense and get their own back. You know, the monkeys start nicking your hubcaps and using them as frisbees. The lions decide which one of us to have for lunch. The rhinoceros ambles over to see what all the fuss is about, you know, because his eyesight's not what it used to be, and he was short-sighted in the first place, you know. All the animals are egging him on. Go on, Rog, go on, give it a charge. Go on. It's not a Sierra, on it, it's not a Sierra, it's a Land Rover. It's a Land Rover, Rog, go on, give it... On it, it's a Land Rover, it's not a Sierra. Look who's in there. Hey, David Attenborough, go on, give it a charge. While all this is going on, the water buffalo have surrounded the car and decided to give the kids a special display by humping each other to death. I've stuck to zoos ever since. But there again, zoos are depressing. I mean, it's like strange ways for animals, isn't it? You have to feel sorry for them. I mean, the big apes, when you watch the big apes, they all just sit there with this incredibly bored expression on their face. It's like looking at the counter staff at the DHSS. What's even more boring is the reptile house. What a con that is. All those cases with the exotic names on them, and you can't see anything. Where's it? You know, the Madagascan fruit lizard. And all you can see is a pile of rocks and an apple core. The Brazilian piranha snake with a voracious appetite. So voracious, it's eaten itself. But the animals I feel most sorry for are the pandas. Shy, sensitive creatures, yet always the centre of attention. And why? Because everyone knows the male panda can't get it on with the female. The poor geezer, not only does the world know he's impotent, but the rest of the zoo do as well. Every time he goes to bed, you know, the grizzlies are next door shouting, "Go on, Rambo, let a real pig in there!" All the rabbits are shouting, "Easy, easy!" With all that noise and his missus nagging him all night, no wonder he's got rings under his eyes. But zoos are having hard times lately. You know this when you see signs saying, "For God's sake, feed the animals." Lots of zoos are closing down, and one of the main problems is what to do with animals that have been adopted by the public. You see, what happened years ago was that the public were encouraged to adopt zoo animals to help defray the cost. Everyone got very excited about it, and it was very successful. For instance, there were lots of corporate adoptions, you know, estate agents caring for vultures and solicitors adopting cheetahs, that sort of thing. Oh, solicitors in there. You can get them after the show. But now, because of these problems, zoos are having to send these animals back to their adoptive owners. So all over the country, people are finding the postman coming up the path, carrying aardvarks, you know, a hippo on a lead. One family, who in 1978 adopted a baby gorilla, had the shock of their lives when he turns up 12 years later in a taxi. Can you imagine that? I mean, can you imagine? I mean, they've got a note from the zoo informing you you've got to look after Gary the gorilla for the rest of his natural life. What are you going to do about it? 3.5 hundredweight, a prodigal primate, and he's friendly. Very friendly. You come home from work and there he is, wagging the kids. Giving you little presents he's picked from the garden, like the shed. Then you have to join in the search for next-door neighbour's cat, because if you didn't, it would look a bit suspicious. But But you know in your heart of hearts that furry thing Gary's wiping his nose with is the next door neighbour. You try to lose him in the park by chaining him to a lamppost, but he comes home with the lamppost. And now he thinks you like lampposts. There is in darkness. And the neighbourhood watch is starting to get suspicious, because someone's lobbing Reliant Robins through the second-floor window. But as with all delinquents, he's yours, and you love him, and he returns your affection in the only way he knows how, grooming. It means every morning you wake up to find yourself being minutely examined by a 23-stone knit nurse. Anyway, your love wins through, and finally, he becomes sociable. He's a wow at fancy dress parties. Oh, wins first prize every time. He scored at one. The gorillagram had the shock of his life.
Arts. What are we to make of the arts? Indeed, what are the arts? How can we define what we mean by the arts? Is art the expression of higher human spirit, or is it simply the Ponzi stuff? What are we to make of this? Apart from a bonfire. This is art with a capital F. It's weird when we consider what have been accepted as great works of art. Take Constable's The Hay Wain. Now this is basically a picture of some prat who's driven his cart into a pond. Van Gogh's pictures sell today for millions and millions of pounds. Here's one of them. It's a chair. Exciting, huh? Van Gogh is the only major artist to have got his models from Texas Home Care. But what of probably the most famous painting of all time, the Mona Lisa? Well, look at it carefully. That awkward pose, that dark background, that strange half smile. This can only be a 16th century passport photo. This was the really crap one she used on her travel card. What of other art forms? What of the world of the theatre? The trouble with the theatre is that many people have put off it for life by being taken to see pantomimes when they are children. But we should not take pantomimes too lightly. Underneath Cinderella is a damning indictment of crypto-matriarchal monarchist societies. Jack in the Beanstalk is a hard attack on the use of chemical fertilizers. And Puss in Boots is a story about a cat that wears boots. The theatre also means Shakespeare. Now, many people find Shakespeare boring, but in fact the Bard came up with many things that we still all know today. For example, Shakespeare invented the doctor-doctor joke. Physician, physician, I keep thinking I'm a pair of curtains. Well, fie upon you for a Rhenish knave, sirrah. That may not seem funny now, but it wasn't then either. Here we must also mention ballet. At the ballet you must be very careful what you say. Do say things like Carrott, exquisite in his pas de deux. Do not say, who's the woofter with the big packet? Such remarks immediately give you away as either a Philistine or a young conservative. The rest of us, well, what with Pavarotti and Nigel Kennedy in the charts, it does seem as if we are becoming more and more cultured. Who knows, if this trend continues, we may even find that our football supporters want to join in the trend. We love you, England, we do. We love you, England, we do. But we acknowledge that other nations feel just as strongly about their teams, and we sympathise with that loyalty. We appreciate the opportunity to travel abroad and experience other cultures. Tomorrow night we're going to see Madam Butterfly. Mind you, afterwards we are going to get completely rat-arsed. Brian.
This week, we're going to learn how to be best man at a wedding. The best man's responsibilities begin well before the actual morning of the wedding. Your first duty is to oversee the stag night, which traditionally takes place on the eve of the big day. the stag night is an ideal opportunity to reminisce about old times, to renew old acquaintances. But you mustn't allow the proceedings to get out of hand. Ideally, both best man and groom will be safely tucked up in bed by midnight, because a sound night's sleep is essential. The big day itself arrives, and now your first priority must be to get the groom ready in time for the wedding service. One of your main duties as best man will be to organize your team of ushers. You should make sure that they're waiting for the wedding guests at the door of the church, that they separate them into bride's family and groom's family. As your guests arrive at the church, you may discover that there aren't enough pews to seat them all. If this is the case, do try to be economical with the space available. Now for some last-minute checks. Do you have cash? Do you have a pen to sign the register? Most important of all, do you have the ring? Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Fine. Supporting the groom and providing the ring are, of course, a vital part of the best man's duties. The ring should be discreetly handed to the vicar in readiness for that blissful moment when this token of love and affection can be slipped onto the bride's finger. The happy moment, the bride and groom are together for the first time. The best man's speech. Make it witty. Make sure everyone can hear. Your final task is to see the happy couple off on their honeymoon. Not forgetting the traditional ritual of decorating the couple's car.
Got a ticket for my destination.